The Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
A very special man pulls up a seat in our studio, the Premier of New South Wales, Chris Minns. Welcome, buddy.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Lots of celebration this morning. Jessica Fox gold, a couple of silvers in the pool also. But Fitz, we've been throwing it around, and Kate, you're in agreement as well, and this could be one for the state, possibly a statue of Jess Fox to celebrate her achievements.
We were saying numerous ones, Chris, maybe 3 or 4 around the Penrith area. Would you consider doing that?
I think we should start with one. But, I mean, that is an amazing idea, and certainly well overdue. 3 gold medals, that's incredible. And the family's amazing too. I was reading about her sister being a world champion and her parents. I know
Mum's
her dad
the coach
as well. He's incredible.
But
so,
I mean, the difficult thing with Jess is, I mean, when you decide on the statue, is it just her standing there smiling? What we know about Jess is she just gives us a myriad of emotions.
Yeah, doesn't she?
You know,
So
she's
what is the
she's
statue?
in the air, she's doing her thing, she's smiling, she's cheering, she's high-fiving. I mean, maybe you need the 4.
Yeah.
and one in it would look a bit odd in a canoe, you know, without any water around it. Like, like I've never seen a statue of just to someone in a canoe.
Could be a bit of a danger too.
Maybe
if you're
her
walking
on
up.
the gold medal dais. That'd be.
I
awesome.
love that.
Yeah.
Hey, she's going for a 3rd gold medal, Chris, and I don't know if you remember this, but you were going to give New South Wales a public holiday if the Matildas won the World Cup. And now they're out, okay, of the Olympics. If Jess Fox wins her 3rd gold medal, could we snag maybe a public holiday?
Sounds like you're making it up, mate.
I haven't watched the Olympics, but I was going to give a public holiday if Kyle Chalmers comes home with the gold. So I don't know how he did this morning. But
Silver's all right, isn't it?
Oh, did he? Silver.
So maybe just an early mark.
Nah, it's gold.
Very well
It's gold.
executed.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Actually, just on the sporting front there, you're a Bulldogs fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
They're doing very well at the moment,
Yes,
Chris.
yeah. Well, look, since I've been Premier, I've predicted they're winning the premiership every year. But this year, I actually think they've got a shot. They're going to make, the 4, and they just knocked over the Broncos.
They're looking great.
Yeah.
You've called it.
Well, yeah.
I love that.
I've caught it every year, but
of course.
This is the year.
Yeah. Chris,
You didn't catch the metro in this morning, did you?
Not possible to do that. Not possible to do that. No.
When is it opening up, Chris? Because it is really, really exciting. And, I walk past Barangaroo every day. Once that's all connected up, it's going to be unbelievable when that's up and running.
Yes. And look, we've admitted a mistake. We kind of screwed up last week. We said that it would be open this coming Saturday. There's a whole bunch of safety procedures that have to be ticked off by this regulator. And unfortunately, we're not going to meet that timetable. So a bit of a lesson for us, not to get everybody super excited about an opening date and then not meet it. But unfortunately, it won't be this Saturday. It'll be weeks, not months, but we want to make sure that it's safe for people to travel on.
Absolutely.
Chris, I want to say thank you too for your leadership, and you were the first leader to come into the studio to support 36 months and put your backing into changing the age of teens joining social media from 13 to 16. That's the crucial time, as the experts have given us that advice. And now to see you and Malinauskas supporting each other, uniting together in the summit, it's fantastic to throw your support, because it is a life-changing movement.
100%. And Whipper, you've been leading this for a very long time, trying to raise community awareness about how vulnerable people, young people in particular, are during that sort of 14 to 16 age period. I mean, it's a difficult age anyway, and to have access to... Look, my view is that social media at best is a giant time suck, and at worst does massive damage to young people's self-esteem, potentially adds to bullying, and, I'm hugely worried about it. Normally, we fight with other states, even if they're Labor states. But in this instance, we're coming together with South Australia. Peter's really led on it on a national level, so we're trying to get the two governments together, experts in the room. Whipper, we'd love you to be there too.
It's very kind, thank you, mate.
It's a 2-day conference, one in Sydney, one in Adelaide.
Right.
And at the worst case is we get the facts in front of parents so they can make a decision about how they raise their kids.
Do you know, the funny thing is, and I get nervous when we talk about experts, because, there was the eSafety Commissioner that came out and said, we've got conflicting reports from experts. One says it's damaging to teens, one says it's not damaging to teens. And to me, that's like saying we've got a glass we've got a glass and there's a drink in it. It could have poison in it. What are you going to do? You don't drink the drink. And secondly, I think the most important thing with all these discussions is to hear the voices of the parents, because that might not be the expert study that's spoken, but here's the voice and here's the concern from the raw parents and the stories of those that have done it tough and that are seeing
who
the
are
impact.
living it. Yeah.
They're the ones that need to be heard. That's why when we launched, we had over 100,000 signatures in under 3 weeks.
Yeah, but
There's the calling.
let's just call it. I mean, the commissioner's wrong. It is bad for young people. Why is there any ambiguity about this?
Wonderful question.
Like it's so clear. Every piece of independent evidence suggests that really troubling rates of the health of young people, particularly mental health, have gone down since the widespread use of social media and Facebook exploding in 2010.
Yeah,
and
exactly
now
right.
we've made major inroads between the late 1990s and 2010 about mental health. Right across states and across the whole country, those numbers are going in the opposite direction now. And the only thing I can think of, it's just common sense will tell you, the only thing that's changed is the widespread use of social media by young people.
Yeah, and that's the common sense that we do need, because, there's teams out there too, and there's some misleading campaigns as well. But at the same time, people are saying, well, what if we just did 13 to 15, and then in that last year from 15 to 16, the parents could make up their own mind? Well, that takes the power away from the parents again. So the whole idea is that even if we can't get the social media companies to and force them to put the technology into place for verification of age, at least give the parents the power to be able to say, guys, we don't do that because it's illegal, and you're not on social media because it's illegal.
And the point you've made, and this is a good one for parents, and I feel it all the time, is that when you speak to parents about social media, they go, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily healthy, but if I ban it, my kid will be a pariah. Everybody else has it. So if you've got a common rule across the whole school community, the state, the country, it makes it a lot easier. And no one here, I'm not suggesting that we're some kind of perfect parents. I routinely give an iPad to my 7-year-old
Oh, we're all there,
when they're
mate.
all fighting with each other. Like,
We're all
everybody
there.
does it,
Yeah.
but there's limits to this, and we're well beyond it now.
No, thank you for
You're
your
on an
encouragement.
iPad regularly in Parliament. I can see you all the time.
Watching
Yeah.
the
I'm
footy.
old
playing
school.
Roblox.
Roblox.
Hey, just before you go, you're looking after the renters, which is good as well. You introduced something called portable bonds, where you can transfer a bond from one rental to the other, so you don't have to pay two. That's ridiculous in itself. This is obviously coming from a man who's lost a few bonds over the years growing up. Chris, have you been in a few share houses when you were younger? And
I haven't. No. I was a bit of a bum at my parents' house for longer than I should have been. But I do remember having a massive stink with a real estate agent with my now wife.
Yeah.
And I was banging on about the bond, and I said, no, you've got it wrong. It's 4 weeks, and you've added. Anyway, I was wrong. The real estate agent was right, and I had to apologise. But that's not the point of the today's reform. It's actually the opposite. We're trying to come in on behind renters.
Yes,
It
and
is
support the renters.
it is a good idea. And the evictions, there's been a lot of them getting evicted for no reason, Chris, which is just ridiculous. These landlords are just upping their rent so much.
Well, what's happening in Sydney? Sydney is the only state pretty much in the country that has what we call no grounds evictions, which means you can kick someone out for any reason at all, or no reason. And what is routinely happening for young people is they're being handed a massive rent increase or an eviction notice and told to choose.
Yeah.
And many people are leaving. I mean, we are losing twice as many young people as we're gaining in Sydney. Sydney's rental apartments went up 35% in the last 2 years.
Jeez.
If we lose our best and brightest, they move to Brisbane or Adelaide or any other jurisdiction or go overseas, then we're not going to have people who start businesses, join major companies, coach football teams, make a city young and vibrant. And a city without young people is one without a future.
Yeah, but
Well
there's
said.
a real flow-on effect, isn't there? That
Yep.
you don't think about.
You don't think about the extent of it, do you?
Yeah.
No, 100%. I mean, I haven't spoken to a business that says it's incredibly hard to get young, skilled, enthusiastic people because they're going... We've had interstate migration before, but it's usually been older people moving to Queensland to retire. Now the demographics are reversed. We're getting young people like, I'm out of here. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's wonderful because, as you said, there are a lot of people having their rent increased and they're living day to day. You know, they're only just making their rents, even if they are. Do you know?
Yep.
So to be handed something like that and have to consider moving themselves if they're a young person or their families, it's been quite tragic for lots of families.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
But that's once again why we're fans, mate, because it makes sense. It just makes sense to look after them.
Thanks, Whipper.
Premier Chris Minns, thank you for joining us, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you.
Great to see you, mate.
Fits in Whipper with Kate Ritchie is a Nova podcast. For more great shows like this, download the Nova Player via the App Store or Google Play.
The Nova Player.